even at this point in time. We are looking at over 700 points of a cut on the Sensex, 60,030. That's the current level at which the Sensex is trading at. Also, the Nifty is now below 17,900. There's a 200 point of a cut, over a percent loss for both the benchmark indices. Talk about the other broader market indices as well, the mid and the small cap 100 indices. Both of them are seeing sharp, sell-off as well. And it's a broad-based sell-off that you're witnessing in the entire D Street today. If you look at the kind of cuts that you're looking at on the mid-cap space, there's slight uptick from the lowest point of the day, but there's still a fall of 1.6% odd on the mid-caps. The small caps are slightly more down, 0.7% of a cut for that one. In terms of the Nifty sectors today, we are seeing heavy sell-off coming in on the PSU banking front. That's the index that's losing the most in trade today. In fact, there's a cut of 2.7% there. Overall, Nifty Bank is down by 1.7% as well. There's a private banks, financial services, all of them seeing heavy sell-offs today. The metals are also down by about 1% odd, and you're also seeing some cuts coming in on the IT pack and the realty pack as well. Barring the pharma, which is slightly flat to with a positive bias at this point, the auto stocks also in the green. Barring these two indices, rest all of the sectors are actually down in the red. In terms of the India VIX levels, that's where the sharp spike has been seen, and because of that, there's a whole lot of volatile action that you're witnessing on the street. 6.6% uptick for that one. 15.6, that's the level at which India VIX is trading at. Advanced decline ratio points towards the bears at this point. 35 declines to 15 advances at this point in time. Which are the stocks that are dragging the most on the street? It's Adani Enterprises, that's down by 5.7%. In fact, all of the Adani Group stocks are actually facing some kind of a cut today. Adani Ports also down by 2.6%. And then Bharti Airtel, Eicher Motors, State Bank of India, these are the other top drags when you talk about the Nifty losers. There are some stocks, however, which are defying gravity. Look at Tata Motors, for example. That's up by 5.5% odd in today's trading session, despite the overall subdued trade that you're looking at. Divis Laboratories, Apollo Hospitals, Hindalco, Power Grid, all of these are still some of the gainers that are finding themselves holding up despite this overall massive sell-off that you're witnessing. Time now to welcome our guest for the day. Avinash Gorakshakar joins in from ProfitMart Securities. Welcome, sir, and thank you so much for taking the time out. First up, the first question that comes to mind is, what is really leading to this sharp sell-off in today's trading session? We've almost lost most part of the gain that we actually saw yesterday. Most of the investors were celebrating this as perhaps the beginning of or an indication of a pre-budget rally, but seems like that rally fizzled out too soon, much sooner than expected. What's really leading to the fall today?
Yeah, I think, Sakshi, my sense is that, I think the earnings season has started off on a very negative note. Yesterday, TCS numbers have come out, I think, significantly below market expectations. And I think today morning, you have seen a lot of FI brokerage houses actually downgrading the stock. So I think point number one is earnings season has started off on a disappointing note. And I think this means that, the bellwether TCS has sounded cautiously optimistic, which is not liked by the markets. So obviously, companies like HCL Tech, Infosys, which are going to declare results, markets are expecting softer numbers even from these corporates. Secondly, I think, there's going to be a lot of volatility ahead of the budget. There have been some conflicting reports saying that this budget may not offer the kind of soft incentives which everybody is expecting in a normal free budget kind of announcement. So I think this is also one factor which is playing on the markets, and plus global headwinds continue to be quite challenging. I think we have seen the Dow and the Nasdaq showing a strong amount of volatility. So that has also played out on the markets, and I think FIs continue to sell quite significantly. So all these factors put apart, I think the markets have corrected significantly on fears that at least in the very near term, these headwinds would be more significant and challenging. So I think the broader index is unlikely to move up in a big way, at least in the very near
Okay.
term.
Okay, understood that. Since you talked about the earnings factor, you were there with us for live decoding of the TCS earnings yesterday as well, and we did go through all the fine print of the earnings. But after that, we've seen the brokerage houses really come out with their reports, and there's a wide range of the kind of targets that they've brought about. There are brokerage houses that still have maintained a sell rating on TCS with about 2,900 kind of a target price. There are others that have in fact given an outperform rating with 3,800 kind of an target price as well. How do the investors really find a place right here with such a variety of reports coming in?
See, I think, Sakshi, one thing is very clear that brokerage houses have different views on a particular stock. I think what the investors should actually take a feel is that what is the kind of commentary which the management has given. It is cautiously optimistic, and I think on the important European market there was complete humility, considering the fact that the management was not willing to commit any kind of decision here. So my sense is, in the next 2 to 3 quarters, at least as per my view and my estimates, TCS is unlikely to get re-rated and is unlikely to outperform the broader market. When US and Europe are under pressure, it is obvious that margins would continue to remain soft, and therefore, the targets of 3,700 or 3,800 may look good. But the reality is that these stocks are unlikely going to be re-rated, because these are already heavily owned FI and institutional stocks. So fresh incremental buying is unlikely to come in. So I think there's no point in hurrying in buying the stock. You could get better opportunities, as I mentioned to you yesterday also. That
Yeah.
TCS is definitely a good long-term opportunity, but obviously not at this price. You could probably get better levels in the coming quarters.
Okay, hold that thought, Mr. Gorakshakar. We'll, in fact, look at the chunk from the interaction, the exclusive interaction with TCS management that we've had. In fact, after delivering the inline set of numbers in Q3, we have actually seen that the company's attrition rate has inched lower as well to 21.3%. In fact, we'll go to that a little later. But the other interesting bit in today's trading session is the other Tata Group stock, and that is Tata Motors. The kind of move that it has shown today, that's also a very interesting move. Of course, we are looking at a whole host of reasons, perhaps the wholesale data, the JLR numbers, and also the brokerage houses calls right there. But Tata Motors, for the entire large part of 2022, has not really given that many handsome returns, and it's been a very volatile stock if we look at the historical performance as well. Your thoughts on how should investors approach Tata Motors after today's move?
Yeah, I think one good part about JLR numbers, for this month has been that gross numbers have been significantly better, about 13% high on a YY basis. But I think you must understand one thing, Sakshi, that you should also look at the profitability aspect of Tata Motors very closely, considering the fact that it's got a large currency exposure. Most importantly, it's a largely heavily geared kind of company. So my sense is that December quarter might be slightly better than the September quarter, but still I don't think it would be making profits in this quarter. The positive part is that with China reopening and with obviously Europe showing a little softening signs as far as inflation numbers are concerned, we could see better numbers for JLR maybe in the next 1 or 2 quarters. So I think net net it's a good kind of a stock if one were to look at the next 12 to 18 months. But in the very near term, volatility will continue, and I think this kind of rise which you have seen today may not be sustainable in the coming few weeks, because you probably would see a lot of profit booking also. So I think people should actually look at good entry points rather than jumping the gun at these levels. I would believe wait for some more time, and probably you could get into Tata Motors at reasonably lower levels. At that time, the price to risk reward would be significantly better.
Okay. From one conglomerate stocks to another now, Adani Group stocks are taking a lot of beating today. Adani Enterprises starting off with that, but there is a 6.5% cut right there. Adani Power and all the Adani Group stocks are in fact down by about 2 to 6 odd percent in today's trading session. Your thoughts here, Mr. Gorakshakar, because Adani Group as a whole has been a massive wealth creator for investors in 2022. But in 2023, are we going to see a repeat performance, or is there going to be largely a profit taking is what we are going to be witnessing?
Yeah, I think Sakshi, the market never likes a significant amount of dilution, and that too a mega dilution. Today morning, I think some reports have appeared saying that there would be a large follow-on public offer from Adani Enterprises to the tune of 20,000 crores, and I think that has been the key reason the markets have actually given it a thumbs down. Although there have been a large set of institutional investors who are readily willing to subscribe to this issue. Whenever a large IPO comes in the market, it creates a kind of a sudden bout of liquidity, and therefore I would believe that this is probably the main reason the stock is under pressure today. And despite, and all these stocks, mind you, are all FNO kind of favorite stocks. So whenever such kind of negative news comes in the market, it obviously has an impact on the stock price quite significantly. So I think net net, it's not that these companies are bad. I would still say that Adani Ports, Adani Wilmar are companies which definitely look very promising for the longer term. But yes, in the near term, this volatility in Adani stocks is quite obvious, considering that these stocks have risen quite significantly in a very short period of time. But the news flow of the 20,000 crore FPO expected very soon in the markets is something which the markets have not taken positively, and that's probably the main reason why the stocks are under pressure today.
Okay, understood that. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gorakshakar, for being with us on this show and discussing a whole host of data points and sectoral performances and what should investor strategy be on some of these movers and shakers in the market. We'll look at how the markets are trading at this point. 622 points down for the Sensex. It's slightly off the lowest point of the day, 60,129. There's some recovery that has happened definitely. 17,921 for the Nifty as well. It's down about 180 points even now, but we are just about 15 minutes away from the market close. We'll have to see. Definitely, we are going to be ending the day deep in the red, and large part of the gains are actually wiped out today. In fact, 3 lakh crore rupees is what the investors' wealth has been lost by. In today's trading session as well. Keep an eye out on how the markets are moving, and we'll see you around on the other side as far as the Business Today Hindi show is also concerned. So you can actually catch us on that too. And with that, we wrap up this edition. But don't forget to stay tuned on to Business Today TV to catch all the latest updates about markets and from the world of business as well. Many thanks for tuning in.
One of the biggest SUV companies in India, Mahindra & Mahindra is